It's close to being official. It looks like the playoffs of 2024, next year college football playoffs, is going to keep with the 6+6 model that it was decided on last year by the College Football Playoff Committee. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash that like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Yesterday's report from CBS Sports, Dennis Dodd, paints the picture. It looks like the decision of the 6+6 model that was made last year is going to stick. College football playoff expected to keep the format for expanded 12-team bracket despite conference realignment. We provide an article, a link to the article in the description box. You can read the whole thing. Please put down your comments in the comments section below the video. Let me know what you think about the article and our take here at Peek Around the Corner. Despite the rash of conference realignment this offseason, it is expected that the agreed upon 12-team college football playoff format will maintain its structure at least for the 2024 season, sources told CBS Sports. The main reason, and we've talked about it here at Peek Around the Corner for months, the main reason it's going to stick is because it would take a unanimous vote of the CFP Management Committee, the 10 commissioners, and Notre Dame Athletic Director Swarbrick to make any change to the 12-team format at this point, sources confirmed. The 12-team structure in place for 2024 will include to see the 6 highest ranked conference champions populate the field as automatic qualifiers, with 6 other at-large teams receiving playoff bids. With the sport in a state of flux and it up in the air how many FBS conferences will even exist once the next season rolls around, it would be almost impossible to find consensus on the subject of which conferences deserve the automatic qualifier status. The original idea behind guaranteeing spots to the 6 highest ranked conference champions was that most years, not only would the Power 5 league champions have access to the playoff, but so would at least one champion from a group of 5 conference. Maintaining the 6+6 structure for 2024 would put off speculation that the number of automatic qualifiers would decrease with the expected loss of the Pac-12. The 2 other structures that have been informally suggested are 5+7, that's 5 automatic qualifiers and 7 at-large bids, and the other one, the 12 highest rated teams, regardless of the conference championship status, earning college football playoff bids. The committee will gather for a regularly scheduled 2-day meeting begin today, Tuesday, in Chicago. Even if alternate models are proposed at the meeting, it will only take one dissenting vote to keep the agreed upon structure in place. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the 6+6 model was the agreed upon structure. And to change that for 2024 and 2025, we'll get to that later, it has to be unanimous. Everybody has to be on board, and I just don't see the incentive for the G5 conference to agree with anything different than having a 6+6 model going into 2024. The American Commissioner, Mike Oresco, is on the record as being against any structure change that reduces the automatic burst. After the 2025 season, much of the structure and format of the 12-team playoff will be up for consideration, including the 6+6 model. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey has said on numerous occasions that he would favor a structure that featured 12 at-large teams. Now here comes the PATC money shot of this article. This is Greg Sankey talking. I think the best teams in the playoffs are most healthy, Sankey told reporters earlier this month. That's not where a lot of my colleagues are. That's not where a lot of my colleagues are. In other words, SEC Greg Sankey does not have a whole lot of support to buttress, to support the idea, the motto of 12 at-large teams, the top 12 ranked teams in the country getting the 12 spots in the expanded playoffs. Keep that in mind as we get through this article. When the CFP Management Committee last met, the Pac-12, after announced departures, still had 4 remaining members, Sankey said. Later that week, Stanford and California moved. We have not gathered again. Respectfully, the Pac-12 still exists. There has to be clarity on its future and direction. The NCAA bylaws state that a conference must be comprised of at least 8 members. However, there is a 2-year grace period for a league to achieve that number. It is largely assumed Washington State and Oregon State will eventually land in the Mountain West. Sankey asked whether they could play as a 2-team conference for those 2 years. And here comes the second money shot of the article. The second PATC money shot of the article. Sankey said the CFP, just so we're all clear, is not the NCAA, he said. In other words, the NCAA might recognize a 2-team conference. The Pac-12, consisting of only Washington State and Oregon State, the NCAA might have a 2-year grace period to recognize. But the College Football Playoff Committee and the decisions that they make, well, they will not, highly probably not, recognize a 2-team conference when it comes out handing out automatic qualifiers. Greg Sankey, I think, made that perfectly clear in this article. Back to the article. Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff will be at this week's meeting. It's not clear whether he still maintains CFP voting rights on current issues. While not much is expected to be decided at this week's meeting, urgency looms. The commissioners, the CEOs, are expected to elect a new executive director, replacing the retiring Bill Hancock by Christmas. And finally, in the article, negotiations will begin soon on a new CFP media rights agreement that begins in 2026. The new contract could be the largest in college sports history. One of the most important parts of that deal will be how revenue is distributed amongst the conferences. Negotiations will start soon, according to sources talking to CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd. Now, what's our take on it? Well, our take has been basically the same, right? 2026 is the great gold rush. Negotiations going to be happening pretty soon. New media rights for 11 games for 2026, and not all those 11 games going to be handed over to ESPN. There's going to be some bidding. There's going to be some competition for those 11 games, and that's going to bring up the price. That's going to bring up the entire revenue package, playoff distribution package to the FBS conferences. How it gets distributed is going to be heavily negotiated. And this is where I think the Big Ten and the SEC will push their chips to the middle of the table. This is where they're going to exact the leverage that they do have over the rest of the FBS conferences. We'll talk about that at a later date. But when it comes to the structure, also 2026, it's all up in the air. For 2024, we just read this article. It looks like it's going to stay with the 6+6. Even if we have 9 FBS conferences, even though we're only going to have 4 Power 5 conferences, 4 Power 4, 4 autonomy conferences, and 5 G5 conferences, 9 in total, it's going to be 6 automatic berths. That means there's going to be at least, definitely, 2 G5 conference champions making the playoffs for 2024. And I believe that structure is not going to change for 2025 because you're going to have a unanimous vote once again by all the commissioners and Notre Dame to change the structure for 2024 and 2025. However, this article basically only discussed 2024 to keep the 6+6 model. There is room, there is space for a change in the structure for 2025. And I think one of the pathways for change is the G5 conferences come up with a deal with the Autonomy 4 conferences, SEC, ACC, Big 10, and Big 12, and say, hey, we'll go with the 5+7, or we'll go with a 5+11, 5 automatic qualifiers and 11 at-large bids. However this looks like in 2026, but we want to maintain our access for 2026 and beyond. And in doing so, we'll change the structure for 2025. That's a possibility. The G5 conferences do have a chip to play. They can, well, change the structure, agree with the Autonomy 4 conferences to change the structure for 2025 to ensure their future access 2026 and beyond. So keep an eye on that. Where I do, and I've said it before, where I think the SEC and the Big 10 really push their chips into the middle of the table is when it comes to distribution, the revenue distribution, how the pie gets divided. And that is going to be, well, it's just starting. The negotiations are just starting. We're going to be hearing and seeing the elbows flying. Put down your comments and thoughts in the comments section below the video. What do you think is going to happen for 2026? The great gold rush, as we termed it here at Peek Around the Corner in our very first episode of this YouTube football channel. It is the great gold rush. But who is going to be in the room? Who's going to be in the room to decide the great gold rush for 2026? I believe the G5 conferences should cut a deal as soon as possible to ensure their continued access in the college football playoffs at the highest level. Put down your comments and thoughts. Let me know how I got it all wrong once again. Until next time, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.